Stop using I am to manifest and instead use this for amazing results. Now, I know you're thinking, Dede, that's manifestation sacrilege. Like that goes against all the videos out there on self-concept, on manifestation, on I am. And what we're going to do here is we're going to throw all that away because it can be very, very confusing because I am is a passive state. And most of you are coming out of an active mind, out of a doing mind, where I am, it seems wonderful, like do nothing, but there's always something to do. And that's where the contradiction is created within the mind that you really don't have, right? Where's your mind? Point to your mind. Show me your mind. Show me the past. Show me the future. You can't. They're all concepts. And I am is a concept. You remember back in grade school, I am, he, she, it is, they are, we are, right? Conjugating the verb. This I am, so simple, yet so crazy that it drives you nuts. That, I mean, let's face it, aren't you ready to throw this manifestation thing out the window? So let me, in this video today, kind of get rid of the I am. It's still there. It's not going anywhere. It's awareness. It's consciousness, right? We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. But I'm going to take you into the next level, something that your doing busy mind understands. And actually, we're going to take you out of survival mode. We're going to take you into true creation. So I want you to stick with me here. And as we go along in this video, I'm going to take you into an experience. So you'll need a paper and pen for the experience, but I know you're already taking notes. And in having this experience, we're going to bring awareness. We're going to bring consciousness too. Because while you're in I am, you are going to fight with yourself. I am is the lowest consciousness for reality creation, for manifestation, because it's not direct, it's passive. And in that passiveness, that I am, like, what the heck does that mean? And, you know, I always thought, I know Neville Goddard uses a lot of biblical references as an allegory, but, you know, when you look at the consciousness that you're in or the consciousness that's being presented to you, that using the very fact that you have to interpret and it's not direct, it's more passive, it's open for interpretation, allows for a lot of the confusion. Because if you're direct, if I tell you to sit down, you know exactly what it is that I want you to do. But if I'm very passive and go, well, you could move over there, you could stop standing, you know, what does that mean? Lie down? Does that mean sit down? This is where the confusion comes in. So I'm Dede Powerniak. I am the Invincible CEO, and this is the Invincible CEO YouTube channel, our wish-fulfilled playground, where I help you make clear, concise, direct choices in the now moment so that you know what you've chosen. And in making the choice, you're choosing which version of you are, so that there is no wobble, there is no confusion, there is no doublespeak, there is no hyperbolic language, there is no innuendo. When I look at the biblical, the scriptures, why not just be direct? Why go through all of this mumbo jumbo and have to interpret what it is instead of saying, hey, listen, powerful creator, you're the God of your own reality. Whatever it is that you're putting your attention on will come to be. But yet the reality creates a God outside of you, which then confuses you even more. And then you have this going back and forth, especially if you've been in those type of realities where there is a God outside of you, that you almost feel like it's sacrilege to believe something to the opposite of it. But let's face it, those ideologies, those religions aren't cutting it, because what is the world that they have produced? But now that you're awake and aware, let's talk about I am for a moment, right? Because all I want to do is see you win big, win all the time. And I want to take you out of the confusion. So I am in states of being, there's active states of being and there's passive states of being, right? When you're walking, that's an active state of being. You are moving the physical body around the 3D template. When you're sitting, it's a semi-active state of being, but for the most part, it's passive. You're just kind of sitting there. When you're lying down, it's passive. So I am is passive. It's encompassing. It's the all. But I am, to a very busy doing mind, can't conceptualize the be still and know, and it'll be brought to you unless you were brought up in that reality. So we're invoking a reality that is very, very different than the one that we believe has been our human experience up until this point. So I am requires you to choose and then allow. And in the allowing, when you're so busy prior to doing, thinking that the doing is producing, the mind that is wanting to do really struggles with the just be. Choose and just be. Now, there you can create through I am. You can create through the passive state, and you can create through the active state. And the way that I've broken this down on this channel, and one of my first lives was saying that your chakras, right? If we use the chakra system, they're like a roadmap for manifestation, where root chakra is your basic first level chakra. It's all about survival. It's all about belonging. And it brings in not only negative, but the positive. It is the world of duality. And in that world, there will be opposites. And within this world, you identify with one or the other, male or female, right? Now we're seeing the reality starting to shift with so many other types of identifications other than male and female. And that's really the law of polarity. There are two extremes and all the variations in between. So with I am, it can be very confusing because it's not a direct reality. Because when you say you're everything, but you haven't experienced yourself as everything, coming out of the states that you're in usually requires some type of action. And that's where it gets very confusing when teachers are saying, but there's nothing you have to do. But you feel a sense of relief when you go into the doing. So in the root chakra, it's all about survival. You do things in order to keep surviving, survival of the fittest. You got to make money to keep the lights on. You got to make money to, have food in the house. And if we use working as an example for this, root chakra working would be getting an hourly wage, right? You go in and for an hour, an employer will pay you a certain level of money. And then your consciousness in the working starts to evolve and you realize that you can go into management. And that would be like coming up to the next level of consciousness, which would be the sacral chakra. And sacral chakra is, instead of the repetition needed at the root chakra, doing over, when you get to sacral chakra, it's just one transaction, right? You go onto Amazon, you pick something out, you order it, you expect it to arrive. Now, you may have to do that over and over as you use up what it is that you've purchased, but you don't have to do it over and over just to get the same one thing. And at the sacral chakra, this would be going into management, where you're not getting paid by the hour. You get a salary, and no matter how many hours you work. And then you up level again in your consciousness because you decide you want to be a business owner, where your pay can then become exponential based on more than you can do in an hour, more than you can do on a salary. Now you're going to take your money to the next level, your ability of working and creating to the next level. And that would be like solar plexus, my will be done, right? You have made a decision to start a business, and all the people that are needed to help you run your business start to show up as you need them. Instead of you being that person that shows up for someone else, because in root chakra, you're building someone else's dream as you work for them. And then even as you level up in management, you're getting more perks out of it, but you're still building someone else's dream. And then you decide to build your own, starting your own business, and it expands in ways, and income comes in and opportunity comes in, and the ability to use your time however you want, it comes in ways that it can't at the other levels. So when we look at that example of consciousness evolving, we see that less and less is being done by the individual, right? When you're the worker in the store, and you're taking the orders and doing all the things, that's your job. But then when you get to management, you're not doing the day-to-day operations. You're now managing those doing the operations. And then when you become the CEO, there's even less that you do. You go from the small tasks into having the big vision of the CEO, and you move from the busy worker to the visionary. And that's what we're saying here. So along the way, the root chakra, the command for root chakra is I am. And when you're looking at I am, it's about existence, right? So if I say I am, how do I know I am? For me, I open my eyes and I just got here. I'm breathing. I'm consciousness. I'm consciously aware, right? My character is consciously aware, and I am consciousness. And as I move around my template, what am I conscious of? What am I conscious of being? Look in the mirror, I'm female, right? Because the mirror is always reflecting who I believe myself to be when I'm in that human role. But now, as I decide to change myself, I realize that I'm different within myself than what I see in the mirror. But eventually, the mirror will reflect me. And what I always love is, as you're going up and you're shifting from root chakra to sacral chakra, because sacral chakra goes from I am. I mean, let's think about this for a moment. If I say I am wealthy, but I know as, as the jump off character that I'm not, it feels like I'm lying to myself. If I'm really sad and I say I am happy, it's really hard for me to embrace that when I know that I'm not. And it almost feels like not being wealthy, there's something wrong. Not being happy, there's something wrong, right? So that's where we get the good and the bad. Instead of in the I am, what I teach my clients, if you're going to be sad, then be the best sad that you've ever been, like really Academy Award, like make it ridiculous, because the only way out is through. When you're feeling sad, when you're feeling angry, go in and enjoy the experience of it, because that's the way out. But most of the time we push things down. So when we move up to sacral chakra, it's not about survival anymore. Your manifestations are not about survival. So if you're manifesting because you need more money, you're in root chakra survival mode. If you need the partner because you don't feel complete without it, you don't have the job or the business that you want, or the relationships that you want, that's all about fitting in and belonging and survival mode. And they are probably sometimes the most frustrating modes to feel, because you're on the side of it not being there. That's the state of I am that you're in. And now you're being asked to go into the opposite, when you've been taught that the physical 3D world is the real world. And now you're being asked to understand that the mental invisible world is. And this creates the wobble within you. However, if you decide to give yourself a promotion from being just the hourly worker to at least management until we get to the CEO part of it, you get a little bit of a breather, because now at the sacral chakra level, it's I create. That's the command. I create, and it's more an active energy. So you already understand I create. You could create a poem. You could create some music on the piano. You could create a painting. You could create a baby. I've done that 5 times. And in this mode of creation, your mind already understands that. And what I love about the I creative sacral chakra, it really gives permission for the time and space needed. Because if you were creating a painting and you say, I am a painter, the painting doesn't happen. And be still and know, and your painting could show up that you've already created, and that is a true reality. However, you're not used to that. So I remember when I was learning a new language in high school, in the very beginning, our teacher spoke both English and German. I was in German class. But eventually she said enough with the English and went into full German, but not right away. She didn't throw us into the deep end. She allowed that process, but there was a cutoff point. So when you're learning a new language, you're learning to be more passive, to allow, and you're coming from an active reality. The I am can be very, like I said, frustrating and confusing. But when you come up to sacral chakra and you're creating for the sake of creating, you're not creating money to pay a bill or put out a fire of an old reality. You're not creating a partner to fill loneliness. Think about, why would you create a painting or a sculpture or create a book, write a book? Why would you do that? For the joy of creation, right? If I'm going to create myself running a race, it's not just about crossing the finish line. I want to enjoy running the race. I want to feel the creation of me realizing myself as an active runner. Or if I'm going to go compete on the bodybuilding stage, I'm not just doing it to get a trophy or a title. I'm doing it to get up on stage and pose the positions and be up there with the other bodybuilders for the experience. I came for the experience. So the creation mode I create is more about stepping into the experience of being the creator and actualizing it through your inspired action. Because as a bodybuilder, getting up on stage, it's not just about getting up there for those few moments to pose. It's the whole process from the moment that you decided to do it. You then start eating differently than your regular character would. You start moving differently, going to the gym, doing different types of workouts, doing different types of cardio. You might have to turn down some foods that you can't eat while you're doing that, because you're in that mode. You're embodying the bodybuilder. And then when it's done, you can go back and eat those things. But you're aware of the rules of engagement if you're going to engage in that creation, whether you want to go on the bodybuilder stage or you want to change your physical body, you want to lose weight, maybe you want to gain weight, maybe you want to put on muscle. They're all different types of creation, because you're taking the physical form, whether it's your body or a musical instrument or paints or clay, whatever it is that you're creating, your mind already understands that. Even now, me creating this video, it's not about posting it up on YouTube and how many people view it and how many people like it. It's the whole creation mode from inception. I get an idea, right? This is our community chosen video, so I put it up for a vote. You guys vote, and I'm thrilled with any of the choices that I put up there. I'm really excited about all three of them. And I was glad to hear that you guys were too. But then it's like, how am I going to deliver it? What am I going to talk about? How does it feel? Like right now, I'm creating this. This is exciting for me. And then after I do all the back end things on YouTube and put it up there, I look forward to your comments. I look forward to the views and the likes, but I'm not doing it to get something after the fact, which is root chakra. If I do this manifestation technique, then I will get money. Or if I do this manifestation technique, I will get a partner, because I'm going from I am not this to I am this, right? And again, it's a very valid form of manifestation, but it's confusing as all heck. When instead you can bump up that whatever you're creating is for the joy of it showing up. That's it. Or the experience during the process. So in I created sacral chakra, if I'm going to do this to manifest money, then I'm going to love the choice to do it. Then I'm going to love doing the technique. I'm not going to worry if I'm going to do it right or not. One of the craziest things for me, my oldest daughter went to RISD, Rhode Island School of Design, for college. And I went to college for a very practical degree in criminal justice, where you study and you take tests and you can get grades on that. But for me, I always thought that art is very, very subjective. Like, how can you grade somebody on their art creation? It's just mind-blowing to me. But yet you do, and I understand that. But how can someone tell you that you're doing your art wrong? How can someone tell you, if you're a music composer, that you're composing your music wrong if it's an expression of you as a creator? That's more I am, because you have a pole of variations and gradations, and that's what the conscious mind loves to do. But when you're in creation mode and you're creating and it's just pouring out of you, not just for the final product, crossing the finish line, getting the partner, it's all about the whole entire journey of it, right? I think about a great example of creation at sacral chakra is to become pregnant. It's, you make the choice. It's fun getting pregnant, whether it's one and done or multiple times of trying and enjoying. But it's the whole process. Yes, at the end, you're going to have this beautiful baby in your arm. But I loved being pregnant and all the different stages, even some of the uncomfortable ones, morning sickness, and at the end getting so big that you could barely stand up on your own and see your own feet. But that was part of it. That was part of the journey. That was part, yes, at the end, there was going to be this beautiful baby in my arms. And then that starts a whole new journey. So I want to take you into an experience right now. And I said earlier that you need pen and paper. And if I were to ask you, are you right-handed or left-handed? What's your dominant hand, right? And it's a trick question. You would pick one. But I've learned as working out in the gym that certain exercises I'm dominant one side and certain on the other. And I found that with my clients too. But we think because we pick up a pen in our right hand, we're dominant of that all the time, which you use your both hands more than you realize. And so I'm going to tell you that you're ambidextrous. You just don't realize it yet. But I want to give you some points of awareness and focus that will kind of blow your mind. So I want you to imagine, you're famous, you're a rock star. And I want you to take the pen in your dominant hand, whichever one that is, and sign an autograph, sign your name, right? Okay, so now I want you, and you're probably going to do it the root chakra way, but I want you to then switch hands and do the same thing. I want you to sign your name like a rock star with your non-dominant hand. Okay, now that that's done. So as the root chakra human being, your dominant hand because it was so easy to do, represents your subconscious mind. It represents the autopilot. You don't even have to think about it. Like in the beginning when you were learning, you did, but now you don't have to anymore. But then you saw yourself being pulled more aware and more present in the now moment when we shifted hands and signed it with the left hand, because you had to be more aware of the movements and you tried to make it look as much of your signature as possible. But here's the thing. There is a right-handed version of you and there's a left-handed version of you. But I'm going to tell you that a left-handed version of you that's truly left-handed if you're right-handed, and a right-handed version of you that's truly right-handed if you're left-handed. But what you did, most likely, was you had the same character, the character that was right-handed, right? Let's say right-handed was your dominant. You put the pen in your left hand, and as the right-handed character, you tried to sign your name with the left hand. You didn't fully go into the left-handed character of you. And that's what you're doing when you're manifesting. When you know that you're not, yeah, I am wealthy, but you know that you're not, right? So the automatic pilot is I'm not wealthy. And now you're taking that I'm not wealthy character and trying to make it I am wealthy. Just like if you're right hand dominant and you put the pen in your left hand, you're not left-handed, you're the right-handed dominant trying to write. You're trying to write with your left hand. So now you say, well, Dede, well, how do I become left-handed if I'm right-handed? You zero out. You got to come out of the right-handed character. You got to zero yourself out and then start embodying the left-handed version of you. You got to create that moment, that space that the right-handed version of you leaves and the left-handed version of you steps in. This is really powerful because otherwise you're just the same character trying to imitate what it would be like to write with your non-dominant hand when there's a version of you who is left-handed if you're normally right. Now, funny thing with me, I went to Catholic school and I was naturally left-handed. But back in the day, in that reality, it wasn't allowed. I think they told my mom I was possessed. For some reason, everybody had to be right-handed in Catholic school. I don't know why. Makes no sense to me now. And here's the crazy part. If I hold a pen in my left hand, I hold it properly. But when you put it in my right hand, which was my non-dominant hand at the time, I got in trouble for having a lazy grip. I didn't have the proper grip, but I would tell them, well, if you let me write with the hand that I write with, I would. And that's the crazy part about all this. When the script, when the reality tries to tell you who you are and morph you in, and I learned how to write with my right hand, even though, and it was so funny, I have my daughter's is left-handed, and my dad made such a big deal of it, like, where did that come from? I'm like, hello? So I'm actually both. I'm actually both-handed. I can do both. But so can you. But if you believe that you're dominant in one hand versus the other, that'll be the case. So let me review that. Root chakra, when you're trying to manifest, when you're trying to be the opposite of what your reality is dictating to you, you're really not embodying that other version of you. You're the baseline, the jump-off version, trying something different, hoping to get the results. And if you look at your two signatures, I bet you would compare them and say, well, this one looks really good and this one doesn't. But they are perfect for the hand that you wrote with, especially if your non-dominant hand, you're not used to writing. So the mind will come in and say, this one's nice and this one's not, or this one needs some work, which is absolutely ridiculous, instead of accepting that was the best that you could do with your non-dominant hand. So again, the root chakra, the survival mode, is always having you do something because your mind needs you to feel safe. And a lot of times, if you don't have, say, example, wealth, but your mind believes bringing wealth in would make you unsafe, it will do everything it can to keep you safe, even though it's not your choice anymore not to be wealthy. And what we do here, and what I'm really wanting you to embody, is there's a difference between your regular character changing a habit, such as picking up the pen in a different hand, wanting to write with the opposite hand, and you, as the creator, totally coming out of the right-handed version of you, choosing to be left-handed, and instead of practicing writing over and over, allowing that version of you to come in and embody the body, because you now want to create with the left hand as when it comes to writing words. That's a huge perspective shift. And I want to say it one more time. Originally, if you're right-handed, that's your autopilot, that's your subconscious. You picked up the pen and you signed your name. And then I told you to switch it to the non-dominant hand. And instead of zeroing out first and allowing that version to embody you, you were still the right-handed version, picking up the pen with the left hand, trying to write on autopilot like the right-handed version of you did. Instead of coming out of the right-handed version of you, choosing to be left-handed, and then when that version of you comes in and embodies, then you can start creating instead of trying to make it happen. It's a really powerful example. So when you walk away from this video today, did you really come out of your original I am character and choosing to go into another one to create differently? Or are you the original character trying to mimic what that real version would be? It's almost, that's why you feel like an imposter, because you can't mock your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind knows which version you're in. If you're in right-handed version, that will be the autopilot for that reality. But if you're truly left-handed, that will be the autopilot for that reality. And it's not that big of a shift. We've seen stories of people who don't have hands and use their feet to write and type, because that's the range of possibility of creation that you have within you right now. But if you stay within the story that you're in and you're trying to make something happen instead of deciding to be the creator who embodies something differently, and you leave the I am alone, it's still there. It's always there for you to go back in that lower level reality. Because on the consciousness scale, I am may seem like it's the all, but it's only the all in the root chakra reality. And that's the ceiling there. Because most manifestation teachers will try to explain to you that it's the all of everything, but it's all in the reality that has words. I am is root chakra, and root chakra has words, and words are very confusing. They're unnecessary. They're not needed in the true now moment, because when you are creating music or playing a piece of music, when you are creating a sculpture or a painting, words aren't needed. Words are not needed. Awareness in the now moment, focused awareness in the now moment. Who are you in that now moment? And we've said this many times here, but it's been said almost very cliche. actions speak louder than words. Words are watered down actions, and they're unnecessary. Thoughts are unnecessary. When you are embodying a certain version of yourself, everything's already complete, everything's already done. There's no trying. If you're trying to make something happen, you're caught in a thinking reality, in a survival mode reality, in the I am reality, because I am is consciousness. Either you're conscious or you're not. And if you are conscious, then why are you having to tell yourself what you're conscious of being? I don't have to tell myself every day that I'm female. I am. That's what I am is. So words aren't needed because I am is obvious. My eyes are open. And when I say I am wealthy, and I know that I am, there's nothing to do. So when I move up to I create wealth, meaning I don't have to go earn it. I create it. Whether I draw a picture of money or I envision myself receiving money within myself, I'm the creator. That's the whole part of the beautiful joy and journey. How do you not know when you do a technique that you've done the technique? And if you're using the word enough, you're in survival mode. Because look at you right now surviving. Look at you surviving. So easy. There's nothing to do. But leave the I am concept alone, because it's a you understood. If your eyes are open, if you're hearing, if you're breathing, if you're smelling and tasting and touching, that's I am. And any word that's put after I am is unnecessary, because that's when it gets confusing. Either you're everything or you're not. So you are everything. There's nothing to survive about your life itself. So then give yourself that promotion to I create. And when you're in I create, you're not creating to keep the lights on. You're not creating to keep food in your house. You're creating for the joy of creating. And this is why manifestation secret, you want to leave I am alone, because there's nothing to do with it. But your mind understands how to create, how you best create things, because they are all manifestation techniques. Whether you pick up a paintbrush, you play the piano, you create a sandwich, it's all creation. It's all you. And you get to decide whether you're the character that was right-handed pretending to be left-handed, or now you are the character and you pull out of the right-handed character and you go all in and embody with the choice, the left-handed character, so that when you move to create, that's the new autopilot, because it exists already, because the moment you chose it, you brought it into the awareness of the existence that you already are. All right, so that is this wonderful video today. This is part 1. Part 2 will be tomorrow during our live at 4 p.m. on the YouTube channel. And part 3 will be live in our private group on Thursday at 5 p.m. To join our group, check the description box for the link below. And my biggest joy is that you leave survival mode alone. You leave repetition alone. You go into creation. I create. And enjoy creation for the sake of creation. And if you could create a like and a subscribe and a share, we as co-creators can really enjoy this manifestation journey together by inviting our friends to join along. Thank you guys so much. I look forward to seeing you again. And there are so many wonderful manifestation videos on this channel. Please take a moment to enjoy the playlist that's been chosen just for you. Until I see you again, happy manifesting and enjoy.